guys, I'm Amanda, the Botanical Brunette, and welcome to my channel. So, you guys may recognize this guy from my last video. We're going to be air layering this guy today. I'm really excited because I am just kind of tired of the way it looks. This was actually one of the plants for those of you who didn't see that video. I'll link it up here so you guys can watch it, but if you don't want to watch it, I'll just tell you this plant has just been like it's just super like wobbly, super like kind of just not my favorite plant anymore, and we want to change that. So for those of you who don't know what air layering is, it's basically the process of propagating your plant via moss while the plant is still attached to the mother plant and still retaining the nutrients and anything like that. Good candidates for air layering is really any plants that have exposed nodes that you can be able to kind of wrap moss and saran wrap around. So how to air layer, basically you take pre-moistened moss and you wrap the moss around a good set of nodes, and then you basically lock it in with saran wrap. Or I've seen people use aluminum foil too. You can kind of use either one. I like to use the saran wrap just because, or the plastic wrap, just because like it's cool to see like fruits sort of starting to form on the plant. So this is just another way to moss propagate your plants if you have really good luck with moss propagation. I did this to one of my plants a while back, and I accidentally deleted the entire video, all the footage that I did, and it was like a good video. And we got some great roots from that plant, so I was super sad to see that just completely gone. I was like so upset about it. So just so you guys can see, so this is the plant that I air layered before, and again, I don't have the footage of it, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but where are you? Two separate stems, one here and then there's one here. Basically this was like one really long stem, and what I did was I chopped it. I air layered it, I air layered that whole extending stem, and then I wound up just kind of setting it next to it. And I know it's a crawling plant, so eventually it will crawl back out of the pot like it's starting to already. It was pretty successful, and I'm really sad that I lost the footage. But we're gonna air layer the Birkin today because it needs to be air layered. It needs something, like I don't really know. So let's get started. So what I have for you today is a big bowl of dry moss. So this sphagnum moss is taken right from the packaging. I haven't pre-moistened it. We're gonna do this together. I figured if anybody out there wanted to watch this video and do air layering with me, that would be kind of cool. But I just kind of wanted to do step by step and show you exactly what I'm doing. There's no anything behind the curtain. You're gonna see it as it goes. And you're gonna see that I've only ever done this one other time. So it's gonna be another experiment. So I have some dry sphagnum moss, a bowl of water, and some saran wrap, plastic wrap, whatever you want to call it. I think it's actually called different things depending on where you're from. But this is just Publix plastic wrap that I got at the store. Before we air layer this Birkin, please like this video at the end of the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And without further ado, let's air layer it because I'm sick of looking at it. So let's go. All right, guys, so we are gonna get started with air layering. So again, I have the really dried out moss, and then I have some water. Really, that's all you need. So what I'm gonna do is, and you actually may wanna grab another bowl just to kind of separate, because I think I have way too much moss here. I probably may only need half of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take half of it out. We're gonna set that aside. So I have some dried moss. This is exactly how it comes in the packaging. And we're gonna moisten it up. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pour this water over the moss. So now you have like a semi-dry bowl. It doesn't have to be super dry. And then just make sure that that moss is completely like saturated and is getting like as moist as it can. All right, and then you're gonna let that sit for about 20 minutes. All right, so 20 minutes is up. So we are going to take all of this moss out and kind of give it a good wring out. So if you haven't done this before, this is just basically like kind of getting rid of any of that excess moisture that you don't need for your plants. And make sure if you guys are doing this with me, to pick a plant that you are not 100% like sad if you lose it. Especially if you're doing this for the first time, because if your moss is way too wet, like even if you think like, oh, it's dry enough, it can cause your stems to rot and you don't want that. So I wouldn't do this on like a prize plant. Again, try it on a plant that you are okay with losing, or even like okay with losing the stem if you wind up rotting it. So take the moss and you're gonna wanna wring it out. And I just keep wringing it out until no more water drips out. Or it slows like way down like that. Like I only have like a couple drips. And then you'll want to take your other bowl, and then what I do, we'll switch these bowls here. So I like to kind of like break it up a little bit. I don't like huge chunks. And any like sticks or anything that you find in the moss, you can kind of just take those out and put them aside. And I think we'll have more than enough moss here for this. All right. And this is gonna get messy. Just so you know, if you have like a table or a surface that you don't want to get kind of wet or anything like that, make sure you put like a tarp or a potting mat down. I really don't, I'm always messy, so I'm used to it. All right, so you wanna grab your plant that you want to do. I'm gonna put this water aside, or I'm gonna spill it everywhere. Now the plant that you're gonna wanna use is a plant that is gonna be really nodey. So as you guys can probably see, there is a good amount of nodes. I'm gonna kind of air layer like all of these nodes right here. I'm literally just gonna bunch it all on there, and whatever really like roots start to take is what takes. So let's go. But you'll want to basically just cover the roots with the moss. So you'll be able to kind of see that here. So you want to take this moss and you kind of like want to ball it up. It will form a little bit of a ball, and that's great. That's actually like moist enough where you'll be able to kind of form it. And before you do that, you may want to grab your saran wrap. So for this plant, we're gonna wrap it. We're gonna start to wrap it like right here. And I'm gonna move my camera up a little bit so you guys can see. All right, so we're gonna kind of start to form it on these nodes up here, like all of these. So and some of the moss is gonna fall into the soil, that's okay. You wanna cut your saran wrap long enough that it's going to be able to go all the way around that piece. This is kind of like a more of a difficult plant to do this on. I kind of wished that my Raphiphora kind of was like a little bit, I wish I didn't lose that footage because that was like the perfect candidate to like kind of show you guys, because like I know that I'm kind of covering everything right now. So essentially when you're air layering, you're just gonna wanna cover the nodes completely with moss. So now what I'm gonna do is, now that I have it kind of formed on there, it's not stable, is I'm gonna keep like pushing more moss in there and kind of really getting it down in there like that. And again, this is a very difficult stem to do air layering on, but I don't really have any other plants and I really want to do this. But it's a good plant to do air layering on, but a bad because it's such a weird shape. Does a saran wrap like ever stay in the box? Like I just usually just rip it. Like it never works out for me. So now you're gonna want to, if you're doing a simple stem, you'll want to just go around and just make sure that all of the nodes that you have are covered in moss, at least an inch, half an inch, and just kind of make sure that any opportunity that the plant can grow roots, they'll have that opportunity. So, and then what you'll want to do after you get all the moss secured is keep cutting that plastic wrap and keep covering it over. You'll want to do a few layers. I'm probably going to do, if I could guess, I'll probably do like 4 maybe 5. We'll see. And you'll want to kind of make it semi-tight. You kind of want it to make sure that there's not going to be, you want to make sure that it's not going to be able to dry out that fast, or you're going to have to keep doing this process over and over and over until you achieve roots. So it's going to be easier to just make sure you really wrap it good. When I did my other plant, I wound up checking on it like a couple times throughout the air layering process, but I only had to water it. Like I only had to like really redo this, like re-moisten the moss and everything like one other time. We also have like new little buds growing in this. I mean, this is gonna be really covered, guys. I mean, I say the saran wrap is great because, you know, you'll be able to kind of see what you're doing, but I'm wrapping mine so tightly that I'm probably not gonna be able to see any roots, but that's okay. And I'm also like folding it in half. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm folding it in half just so it's like that perfect size to get around the plant. And if you have like new growth like I'm like dealing with right now, just go around it. Try to like form your saran wrap around that and like kind of tightly wrap around the new guys. Because actually that might stimulate them to grow. That might help them start to grow a little bit better. Mine have just been kind of sitting there for a while. They haven't really done too much. So maybe this will promote them to actually form leaves and grow a little bit. All right, so I think we're done. This is pretty tightly wrapped. You guys show you all the way around. And I'll show you what I was talking about with the new growth. So with the new growth, I had to actually go around each spot, which I probably will stick another piece like right here. But I actually had to like go around like this little guy and just kind of go around all of that, and also make sure that it's really airtight on the bottom, because I don't want any of that to escape. But I'm actually gonna take that, all the extra moss out of the soil, and yeah, just keep spinning it around so you guys can see. But it is pretty secure, pretty tightly covered. And yeah, it's really simple. It's really easy once you like kind of get it. Hopefully we'll get some roots within the next couple of weeks. All right guys, so that's it. So that is my air layered Birkin. And I'm hoping I did it right. Because I've only ever done this one other time, and it did work out really well for me, but you never know, it could have been just like beginner's luck. But within the next few weeks, I'm going to have a update video. So I'll do probably maybe the end of January, I'll do an update video on my air layering project and let you guys know how it's going. And I'll also document throughout on Instagram, or I'll just kind of throw it in on my update video the days that I check on it. I'll probably check on it weekly, just kind of like make sure that it's doing okay and not rotting and anything like that. And also make sure that the moss is still wet enough and not dried out. For those of you who did it with me and you want to show me on Instagram, I would be so happy to see what you guys did on Instagram and let me see like all your air layering projects. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, air layering for the first time that I've done it was super easy. It's just another way that you can propagate your plants. I feel like it's kind of a better way in a way, because your plant is still attached to the mother plant. So your plant is still getting all the nutrients and everything that the mother plant receives as well. So that's kind of great in that sense, because it's not like your plant is going to, to kind of die from that. So I have a huge mess to clean up right now. So I'm gonna go clean that up, and I hope you guys all have a great day and stay botanical.